So this is the 025. Got her apart. I'm gonna soak her, clean her. I don't know if that's gonna show up. A bunch of carbon in there. Looks like blow by. Got new rings and everything. Same thing with the piston, but being behind the rings, in the ring lands there, it's the ring grooves. You can see the carbon in there. Try to get all that cleaned up. Clean this piston up a bit, and I'll see what it can do with this thing. I don't know if it can get really technically hot, but we'll see what we can do. Hey, oh, I've got stuff in my beard. I really need to trim this thing. It's getting pretty bushy. So, we got the bearings on. Those are done. My tickle box of 025 parts. Some of them. So, since I have two of these cylinders, I want to open up these lower transfers, and kind of what I'm thinking here is, if this shows up, I'm just going to rough draw just a line here really quick. Let's see. I don't know if that shows up. Where is it there? The line right there. So, oh man, hopefully that shows up okay. So I'm going to try to widen that from there out here into the bearing pocket a little bit. Taper it on an angle back into the transfer. I'm not going to go up that cylinder wall too far. My ring should clear fine on this side because both pins are facing towards the intake. That's what I'm thinking. But since I got two of these cylinders, I really don't care if I grenade one. If I grenade one, I grenade one. Then it comes apart and go do some funky monkey stuff. Why am I porting an 025 ms250? They're good saws out of the box. They really are. I ran the timing numbers, and that intake is like already on the ragged side, like out of the box, and the exhaust groups are already pretty high out of the box. So still's pretty much got these things as a homeowner saw, throwaway saw, whatever, pretty dialed in. So I've seen some guys on YouTube like rip roaring on these things, and they look like it. They look like they can do pretty good. So you know what? Never poured one of these, and since these things are all over the countryside, like every province and state dang near has one of these, and tons of people own them. Whether you own them for homeowner, for hunting, for back of your ATV, like that's the whole point of this saw actually, is to be slap it on my side-by-side where I really don't care. You know, like I really don't want to beat up one of my 026s or ms260s, even though they're like rip roaring, but I'd rather destroy one of these than one of those. So let's jump down this rabbit hole. Fortunately, I don't have a carburetor. I don't have any WT or Walbro WT215s, but I am going to see, once I get this back together, if I can actually retrofit one of my ms260 026 carburetors to them. I have like 2 or 3 of them. Don't know if it'll fit. Impulse, there's a bunch of different variables going on there. So you know what? We'll see what happens. I have no idea if it'll fit. Never tried it. You know what? Just send it. Who cares? Just send it, bud. Be right back. Kind of what the idea is. I'm going to try and grind out. I don't know if I'll be able to. I'm going to try grind out about halfway up the transfers, get that sharp edge out, open it up just a little bit more, and everything's going to cram about halfway up. It's already on a slight taper, getting closer and closer and closer, but like I said, if this doesn't work, so be it. I got another cylinder. The way I'm looking at it is, let's just send it. Like I said, these cylinders, they're easy to find, and they're plentiful. Worst case, the saw itself though is in really good condition, like plastics, everything else. You can tell this was a like higher hour saw, but we're going to do this, re-ring it, and just see what happens. check back in a bit. So this is, I still got more grinding to do, but that's kind of the idea. There's if before I went on this side. This is kind of where I did some grinding, tapered it a little bit more, trying to rough it up, because the that finish, it's like right in the transfers. So I mean, realistically, I probably don't even have to do what I'm doing. Just get the plating out, rough it up in those transfers and stuff. Same as the intake is like, it's got a very, very light texture in it. I mean, like, realistically, you probably get away with just roughing it up. But you know what? Like I said, since I got 2 of these, let's just freaking send it. See what happens. You can see 2... that's going to show up very good. So these transfers are pretty square, so I kind of took them and put it like a, not only did I take them out, I also kind of put like a curved bevel taper going from the bottom to lead up into the corners there. Let's see, hopefully it shows up all right. Oh yeah, there we go. Again, no idea, I've never ported open transfers before. This is the first one I put a grinder into, even though I've had quite a few saws that have open transfers. I just never ever touched them. I usually stick to the pro saws, but you know what, let's jump down this rabbit hole and just see what we can do. I mean, if it loses power, it loses power. Buddy has a brand new ms250. I'll compare him to like his stock saw, because it's got low hours. It's not used and abused yet. So we'll see what happens. I mean, just send it. That's one. If it was something that I didn't really, that I cared more about, I wouldn't give a hoot. But you know what? I said first close transfer. Let's just see what we can do with it. If it's successful, it's successful. If it's a bust, well, I got another cylinder there. I can not go near as far, and just dial it up a little bit and put it back together and just use it as it is. But yeah, I'm curious. Like I said, there's so many of these saws, so many people own them. Why not, right? Anyways, check back in a bit. Right, so back again. Open up the exhaust port. Hopefully it shows up. That's kind of where I got the transfers. Where's it here? From the stock one, used to kind of come more. Am I looking at? Yeah, I'm looking on the right side. Used to kind of come more up. Cut all that out. Tapered it. Knife edged kind of idea. Roughed it all up to get all from OEM. It turns out there's like a ton of plating in here. And so it's super smooth, same as the intake. So that's what I got done to the intake. Hopefully it shows up okay. I'm actually going to put some JB Weld on the floor of the intake. Reason being is because I want to clean that casting up there on this side here on the intake. So I'm going to have to add a little bit of JB Weld, take some timing out. There's a ton of timing in there already, so that's where I'm at with this 025 currently. It's going to be an interesting thing. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I didn't run this saw stock. I used to own one, and they're peppy. For a stock saw out of the gate, they're a strong saw, no doubt about it. I'm going to get this JB Weld, and I'm going to discuss something else here really quick I discovered. I didn't know today, but I had 2 flywheels. We'll discuss that in a minute. Give me a moment. So flywheels on these specific saws. Got these 2. There are the same part numbers. They are cross compatible. They are also, from what I can tell, quite different in a few fashions here. So one of the fashions are, when you look at these cooling fins, see how that lug is designed, or that part of the counterweight, in comparison to that. They are noticeably different. Now, I don't know why this next part is different. It must just be the machining when they're balancing these things out right from factory. But just the holes too are different. Like the way they countersunk them. Like I said, that must be for balancing. Depending on where they need to add or pull weight from. Tire balancer for your vehicle. You know, it goes on the machine. The machine shows you on outside or inside of your rim, and as you manually rotate it, well, I don't know about the new ones. New ones probably have brakes that stop you right on where you need to add or remove or change weight. And it's probably the same idea with this. So I'm going with I've already weighed them up, but I haven't recorded this. So just to show what the difference is, like I say, same part numbers, same everything. Give me 2 secs here, get the camera closer. So what we got, this is the one that came off the saw originally. It's not spotless, but it's not dirty enough to affect these numbers, at least not this much. We got 360 grams compared to this one here, 339 grams. So is that going to make any difference overall in performance? Probably not, but I'm going to go with the lighter one just cause. So that's what the story is on those flywheels. I don't know how it varies between other saws. You know, like, actually it kind of makes me curious because I have 3 different 026 ms260s too. I wonder how. I imagine that's probably going to be fairly normal, but now it kind of makes me curious about those other saws, just to kind of weigh them up and see what happens. Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to wait for that JB Weld to dry, get grinding on that again, clean it up, get it ready. And I'm just going to clean this piston up though, but I'm not going to bother recording that. I mean, if you pick up a grinder and do stuff on chainsaws or whatever, then you already know what's going on. Anyways, touch base in a few.